My name is David, and I grew up in a family that believed success only came with college degrees and fancy titles. When I chose a different path, trade school, they cut me off completely. They thought I'd fail. But what happened years later proved them wrong in ways they never saw coming. For my family, status mattered more than happiness. Doctors, lawyers, engineers, those were real careers. So when I told them I was enrolling in trade school to become an electrician, they laughed. Then they turned cold. "You'll never make it," they said, cutting off support, invitations, and even conversations. I walked away, determined to build my own future. Years later, when their houses began to crumble and repairs grew costly, the same people who once mocked me came begging for help. "Watch until the end. You won't believe the irony." In my family, gatherings were competitions. Cousins compared college acceptances, uncles bragged about corporate promotions, and I sat quietly, planning something different. I loved working with my hands, solving problems no textbook could explain. Trade school wasn't my last resort. It was my dream. But my parents didn't see it that way. To them, it was shameful. The night I told them about trade school, the room fell silent. My mom shook her head and my dad muttered, "You'll regret this." From that day on, everything changed. They stopped helping with tuition, refused to acknowledge my choice, and even skipped my graduation. I learned quickly to live without their approval. While they cut me off, I pushed forward, and though it was hard, working part-time jobs, scraping by, I knew I was walking the right path. What I didn't realize was how completely the tables would turn. Trade school wasn't glamorous, but it was real. I learned skills that mattered: wiring, troubleshooting, repairing. Within months of finishing, I had a stable job, something many of my degree-holding cousins couldn't say. The work was steady, the pay solid, and soon I had more freedom than I'd ever imagined. Meanwhile, my family barely acknowledged me. At weddings and holidays, I was the invisible one, the failure. They whispered about me choosing blue-collar work, while they celebrated overpriced degrees and endless debt. It stung, but I stayed quiet. Then life flipped. Years later, their homes, large, expensive, and old, began to fall apart. Electrical issues, faulty wiring, power outages, problems that required exactly the skills I had mastered. Suddenly, the same people who mocked me were calling nonstop. My parents asked first, pretending the past never happened. Then uncles, cousins, even my brother, they all needed me. The irony was thick. I held in my hands the very skills they dismissed, while they struggled to afford repairs. And as the requests piled up, one truth became clear. They didn't value me as family. They only valued me as free labor. The breaking point came when my parents called me in a panic. Their entire house had lost power. They demanded I drop everything and fix it immediately, for free. I paused, remembering the years of silence, the rejection, the laughter at my trade school dream. And then I said it clearly. No, they were stunned. I told them I had clients who respected my time and paid me fairly. If they wanted my help, they'd have to hire me like everyone else. My words cut through years of entitlement. My father, once so proud, stammered. My mother cried. But I stood firm. For the first time, they realized the son they had cast aside was now the one holding the power, literally and figuratively. Today, I run my own business, thriving in the very trade they once mocked. I've built a life of independence and respect without needing their approval. My family still calls occasionally, but now it's with hesitation because they know my boundaries. I don't hold hatred in my heart, only clarity. They taught me a hard truth. Sometimes the people closest to you won't believe in your dreams, but that doesn't make the dream any less real. Their rejection gave me strength. Their doubt gave me drive, and their mockery gave me motivation. In the end, they didn't define me. I did. So I ask you this. What would you do if the family who once cut you off came begging for help? Tell me in the comments which country and city you're watching from. Take care.